Solomon, a skilled and famous violinist from Saratoga, New York, who was a free black man, was approached by two men claiming to be magicians who offered him a 2-week job in Washington with a good salary.
Mr. Northam, if we could persuade you to accompany us as far as Washington.
Solomon accepted the job and performed successfully at a party in Washington. To celebrate, he goes to a restaurant with the two men, drinks heavily, and faints.
Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers.
Solomon wakes up and finds himself tied up in what appears to be a prison. He asserts his identity as a free man with family in Saratoga, New York, but the two men insist that he was a slave who escaped from Georgia and beat him violently when he resisted.
Not any free.
And I promise you.
You're a slave!
Solomon was forced to change clothes and then smuggled onto a train with other blacks, presumably to be taken to a slave trade center. On board, someone warns him to hide his ability to read and write, as it could lead to his death if discovered by human traffickers. On board, a white crewman tries to attack a black girl, but a black man intervenes and is stabbed to death. Solomon and another man were ordered to throw the body into the sea. Upon arrival at the port, Solomon's name was changed to Platt. He tries to explain his real name but is slapped. The blacks are gathered in a detention facility where Solomon meets Eliza and her 2 children. After cleaning themselves, they were put on display for sale at the slave market. Mr. Ford buys Solomon, now a license plate, and Eliza, despite Eliza's protest at being separated from her children. Platt and Eliza are taken to Mr. Ford's house. Eliza continued to cry over her children, making the plate uncomfortable. Platt becomes angry and advises Eliza to stop, but her constant crying also makes other women uncomfortable, which causes Eliza to be taken away, marking the last time Platt sees her. Platt starts working at Mr. Ford's house, but because it's new, he's often scolded by Ty Beats, the head foreman, who doesn't like anyone standing out. Mr. Ford and some slaves went into the woods to cut wood, but he wasn't sure how to transport it efficiently. Platt suggested tying the logs together like a raft and washing them into a river, an idea opposed by the Ty Beats. After arguing, Mr. Ford allowed Platt to try out his brainchild, which proved successful and efficient. Platt receives praise and a violin from Mr. Ford, much to Ty Beats' dismay. Platt is assigned to build a hut, and the Ty Beats again bother her. Platt, fed up with Ty Beats' mistreatment, fights back and beats up Ty Beats. The senior foreman, Mr. Chapin, intervened and stopped the fight. Ty Beats escapes but returns with 2 of his friends who chase and hang the plate. Mr. Chapin returns and threatens Ty Beats and his friends, stopping them. Platt was left hanging, unable to be helped by others who feared punishment, and struggled to keep her feet on the ground. Mr. Ford returns at night and rescues the plates, taking them home. Mr. Ford informs Platt that the place is no longer safe due to the threat of Ty Beats, and decides to move Platt to Edwin Epps' house to save his life and pay off Mr. Ford's debt to Edwin Epps. The plates were taken to Edwin Epps' house, where Epps was known for his cruel treatment of slaves, often whipping them for misconduct. Platt and other slaves were assigned to pick cotton on Epps' plantation. Among the slaves was Patsy, who plucked over 500 pounds of cotton each day, exceeding the average of 200 pounds, making her Mr. Edwin's favorite slave. One night, Mr. Edwin woke the resting slaves to dance. His wife, jealous of Patsy's favoritism,
You will remove that from his property.
throws the vase at Patsy and demands that Mr. Edwin sell it, but he refuses, further angering her. One day, Mrs. Edwin called Platt to run errands and asked her about her origin and whether she could read or write. Platt claimed to be from Washington and denied being able to read and write. Platt considers escaping during the course of his duties but sees the landowner hang 2 slaves. A landowner questioned him, and Platt, frightened, stated that he was running errands for Mr. Edwin Epps, who then allowed him to pass. After witnessing the hanging, Platt abandons her escape plan and completes Mrs. Edwin's task. That night, Master Edwin secretly enters the slaves' quarters and rapes Patsy. When she did not respond to his invitation, he hugged her. When he was satisfied, she left him. The next day, Mrs. Edwin again sent the plates for a purpose. Platt notices a rolled-up paper entrusted to her by Mrs. Edwin to deliver to someone. He silently took one sheet, hoping that it would come in handy later. That night, Master Edwin again ordered the slaves to dance. Mrs. Edwin gives cookies to all slaves except Patsy to provoke Mr. Edwin. When he doesn't react, he gets upset and hurts himself. Patsy, tired of Mrs. Edwin's abuse, hard work, and sexual exploitation of Mr. Edwin, loses all hope and asks Platt to kill her, feeling her life is meaningless. Later, Mr. Edwin's cotton fields are attacked by pests, so he rents his slaves to Mr. Turner. Before leaving, Mr. Edwin warns them not to reveal his true nature to Mr. Turner. In Mr. Turner's house, slaves worked cutting sugarcane. Life there is more humane because Mr. Turner is kind. Platt is praised for its efficiency. One day, Mr. Turner discovered the skill of the Platt violin. When a friend needed a musician for a party, Mr. Turner offered Platt the job and allowed him to keep his earnings, which Platt gladly accepted. Before going to the party, Platt engraved the names of his wife and children on the violin as a sign of longing. The humane conditions in Mr. Turner's house ended when the cotton pest problem was resolved, forcing the slaves to return to Mr. Edwin's house. In Mr. Edwin's house, there is a new slave named Armsby, a white man who was previously a major and forced into slavery. One night, Platt visits Armsby, who explains that he lost his job and money from drinking heavily and chose slavery to survive. Despite being a slave, Armsby receives special treatment from Master Edwin. He is encouraged rather than whipped for not meeting the target. Feeling that he could trust Armsby, Platt asked him to send a letter to New York. Platt wrote the letter on paper she picked up many years ago, using berry juice as ink and twigs as pens. A few days later, Mr. Edwin calls Platt, revealing that he knows Platt is trying to send a letter. Platt quickly pretends not to know, claiming that he cannot read or write and that Armsby made up the story to get a promotion. Mr. Edwin trusted Platt, saved his life. Platt is then forced to burn the letter he wrote to his family. While picking cotton, one of the slaves died, much to the chagrin of Platt and the others. Despite not being blood relatives, they feel a deep loss, having suffered together for so many years, considering each other a family. Years later, Mr. Edwin plans to build a house and hires a Canadian builder named Bass. Bass conversed with Platt, expressing shock at the practice of slavery in America, viewing it as unjust and a violation of freedom.
That there is no justice, no righteousness in this slavery.
One day, Mr. Edwin angrily searches for Patsy. She eventually shows up, explaining that she went to Mrs. Shaw's house to buy soap because Mrs. Edwin refused to give her one, even though Patsy produced 500 pounds of cotton every day. Mr. Edwin did not accept the explanation. Mrs. Edwin shows up and takes the opportunity to hurt Patsy because of her jealousy. He provokes Mr. Edwin to punish Patsy. An angry Mr. Edwin orders his men to strip Patsy naked and orders Platt to whip her. Platt whips him gently, so Mr. Edwin threatens him with a gun, forcing Platt to whip Patsy hard. Mr. Edwin then whips Patsy himself, brutally, nearly killing her. Platt is overwhelmed with guilt over Patsy's severe injuries and her inability to help, channeling her frustration by destroying a violin given to her by Mr. Ford. Sometime later, Platt boldly approaches Bass and reveals his true identity as Solomon, a free man from New York. Bass was surprised. Platt asks Bass to write and send a letter to his friend Parker, explaining his true identity, condition, and location. Bass was hesitant at first because of the risk, but agreed after careful consideration. Years later, while Platt was at work, a sheriff and a man approached her. The sheriff asks who the man is, and Platt confidently identifies him as his friend Parker. Having correctly answered the question about his real name and family, Platt hugged Parker, seeing him for the first time in 12 years. Mr. Edwin is displeased and tries to prevent them from taking Platt, but the sheriff threatens to arrest Mr. Edwin, stating that Platt, Solomon, is a free man and American law has changed. As Platt prepares to leave, Patsy approaches and hugs her. Platt, reluctantly, leaves Patsy to return to her family. Solomon, now back to his real name, arrives home and is shocked by his family's condition after 12 years. He felt guilty for leaving them. She finds a strange man in her house, and her grown daughter tells her that it is her husband and that she has a son named Solomon. In the end, it is revealed that Solomon is a victim of a human trafficking syndicate. He prosecuted his captors, but due to widespread racism in America, his attempt failed, and the white captors were released. Despite these setbacks, Solomon did not give up. He wrote a book about his 12 years in slavery and actively campaigned to abolish slavery in America.